1440 KVON 99.3 The Vine. This is Kelly. It is time now to speak with someone who is what I like to call one of our own locals with a great story. I love these are just some of my very favorite kinds of guests because I love to find people that live in my community and have an incredible story to tell. And so that is Laura Levesque Page. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Kelly.
It's so nice to have you here. And
Thanks for having
finally
me.
meet you in person. So, Laura, take us back a little bit. I mean, there's a story that gets you to where you are today. So take us back in time. How far back do we need to go?
Well, today I'm 36.
Mm-hmm.
At 21, I had my first tumor, and it was a chest tumor. I had my first surgery for the removal of that.
So tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Like you just found a lump or?
I was having a lot of difficulty breathing.
Oh,
At that point, I was a
really?
flight attendant, and I couldn't fly. It was becoming really difficult for me to fly and to land. So I went to
Wow.
see a lot of different doctors, and they kept telling me there was nothing wrong with me and kept putting me on antibiotics. And after about 6 months of seeing doctors, I finally had an x-ray, and so this tumor was discovered. So it was removed,
Wow.
and 2 days after, I woke up in the hospital. I was injected with a morphine needle, and that severed my nerve on my left arm and paralyzed it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and so the neurologist told me I'd never be able to move my arm again.
You're moving it.
I am. Yeah. And so I think at that point, I knew that if doctors told me something, that it wasn't necessarily going to be my reality.
You didn't have to buy into the prognosis or...
Right. And I mean, I did a lot of work myself. I went to the pool and I it was skin covering bone. It was super thin and
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there was
just from a
absolutely-
needle stick?
Yeah, it was well, that's what happened. I mean, the morphine literally
Oh, because the
blew
morphine...
the nerve
It was because the
apart.
morphine went into it.
Yeah. And they never heard of that happening. At least that's what they said. But so, yeah. And then 2 years after that, I had my second tumor. And this time it was sarcoma cancer. So same
So
area.
was it cancer the first time?
It was kind of undefined. So,
Okay.
and then the
So they
second
didn't-
time, sarcoma cancer in my chest wall again. And after that surgery, I woke up with 2 missing ribs.
And you're 23?
I was 23. And at 25, I was again re-diagnosed again with sarcoma cancer. This time I had 2 tumors in my right chest wall, and my surgeon wanted to remove all my ribs on the right-hand side.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was his recommended path of action. And I just saw myself literally on the path to my death.
Because was the tumor embedded in the ribs? I mean,
It
why are they
was.
so it was like,
It
was
was-
it a bone cancer of some kind?
Well,
or-
he wasn't sure, and that's it. Like so, but the tumor was growing like he described it as octopus tentacles growing around the rib, and he really believed it was in the bone, and that in order to get rid of it, because it had come back 3 times, that he had to be really aggressive.
Right.
So
May I ask you, Laura, on the first 2 times through, were you getting other treatments, radiation, chemotherapy?
no,
They were just removing
Removing.
the tumors. Okay.
yeah, removing, and I had started on. It definitely had changed my way of eating and changed my way of thinking. And I was seeing a lot of different natural type doctors. And at that point, meaning like Chinese doctors and homeopaths and
Right.
naturopaths. I mean, I had some experience with that. And at that point, I just really believed that I needed to make a huge decision and go a different direction.
Wow.
So
That
I
must
did.
have been scary. I mean, how are the people in your life reacting to that?
I think with I'll give you the example of my mom. She had watched me go through these 2 surgeries, and during my second surgery, I had explained to her that I was never coming back to the hospital, and she believed me. It was really difficult in recovering from, they were thoracotomies, so they're literally cutting through all the ribs and lifting it up, and it's supposed to be more painful than having bypass surgery.
Oh, my God.
So it's just really difficult to recover from. And I was so young and not at all excited about the idea of having surgery every 2 years.
Right. And so you said no to the doctor, that you were not going to
Well,
let
I
them
asked
remove
him-
your ribs.
Right. And I asked him if he'd continue to monitor me with x-rays.
Right.
It was important to me. It's not like I checked out completely of the medical system.
Okay.
I really respected him
Right.
and his opinion and everything that he had done for me to that point.
Right.
I just really believed that I had to figure out a different way, that I was stuck in this pattern that was going to perhaps never end.
And how did the doctor react to that?
He was not at all happy, and he was really worried for me. He thought that I was going to die if I didn't go his way and if I didn't have the surgery.
And was there anyone else in your life, a personal relative or friend, that was upset with your decision to not do the surgery, or that confronted you about it?
Yes, absolutely. And I just, like, I've written this book, and in the book you kind of see the different people in my life and how they reacted. But for the most part, I would say most people were very quietly supportive. I didn't have anyone,
try to talk you out of it.
I didn't have anyone really try to talk me out of it. And then I did, but later on. But as far as my close family goes, I think they were just so overwhelmed by everything that had happened in my life.
But you still felt very strong. Did anyone sway you and make you think maybe I'm doing the wrong thing? Or you felt very strong in your conviction?
Very strong. And actually, the people who did try to sway me, it just made me stronger in my own conviction. I mean, it wasn't easy, that's for sure, and it wasn't at all not scary. It was terrifying, but I had a very strong conviction that this was going to work.
Okay, so you said no to the surgery. Mm-hmm. Then what did you say yes to?
I said yes to so many things. I mean, I said yes to nutrition. I said yes to healthy foods. I said yes to taking care of myself at a level that I did not realize at that point was possible. Definitely said yes, yes, yes to self-love and to having a different way of thinking, becoming very, very positive, really saying yes to my emotions as well, like really respecting what was happening and recognizing that I could let those emotions flow through me and not rule me. And I absolutely said yes to my faith. Because I had to strongly remain cemented in the belief that this was going to work. About a year after I started on my own healing journey, I was being monitored for x-rays, through x-rays, and as I went back for x-rays, the tumors were growing. Wow. So it's not like they just went away.
Like they just disappeared.
Yeah, and that was really interesting because looking back on it now, at that point, it was really terrifying.
I bet.
Because I'm like frustrating. I'm putting all this energy into healing myself. And I felt like, why is this not working? And eventually it did. But it took a lot of faith and then surrender, like just absolute. I mean, I really believe that we control a lot in our own lives, and I've come up with this idea that we're more than we think and we're more than what we eat, and we are really this consistent sum of what we eat, think, feel, and do, and that's what we control. But after that, we don't necessarily control the outcome, and we just have to surrender. And I feel that was definitely my biggest lesson, was learning how to do that.
Wow. So where did you get your information when you decided, well, gosh, I'm going to eat right? Where do you go to get that information?
I feel now today there's so many more books and like documentaries and movies. I mean, there's so much more information. This was 10 years ago, and I found a lot of my information through people and of course books, and just really listening to the people that I consider to be healers in my life. Like even my massage therapist, like there's all these different people who I felt had a positive impact on my life. And a lot of them didn't even realize they were having that sort of impact. And I think sometimes that's the best kind.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what changes, let's just break it down for each thing that you did. What changes did you make in your diet?
I started eating a lot of vegetables. Really big fan of vegetables. I was juicing every day. I removed myself, so I went and lived in the country, and I juiced, and I ate tons of vegetables. I have on my blog today boatloads, and that's really what I did, was I ate boatloads of vegetables. And that's really, I think the focus is nutrient-dense food.
Right, not as much the processed.
Not at all processed.
Not at all.
I didn't drink for a couple of years.
What about sugar?
Oh, no sugar. No. I mean, I was on at that point, I think when you're sick, you really have to go to the extreme.
Right.
And that, everyone always asks me if I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
I'm not, but I eat organic, and I was, and I long story, but I just, you have to figure out what's right for you.
Right.
But your food has to be clean.
I mean, food is medicine, right?
Absolutely. And supplements, lots of supplements.
And then what about, you said you changed the way that you thought. I mean, what about that changed?
I think just really looking at my mind, and it was, my mind says you're not going to be able to do this, and then I have to say yes, you are. Like, yes, I am doing this. So just really choosing my words properly and really carefully, and you have to be really diligent about that.
Right.
To really focus on what energy are my words putting out there to myself? Like, what vibration am I carrying through my words?
Your self-talk.
Absolutely.
So important, right?
Self-talk, and then also what I would say to other people. People would, like, instead of saying I'm sick, it's I'm healing. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. And really, I found that to be really powerful. I mean, I'm always in my own mind. I'm always having to practice on myself. But it was easier to practice going outward to other people.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love, that really turns it around. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying I'm sick, I'm healing. Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, I'm using that, Laura.
Yay.
I love that. Not that I'm healing right now, but next time I am. That's what I'm using. And you said supplements and diet and thinking and anything else. Oh, you talked about emotions.
Yeah.
What changed for you in regards to your feelings?
I think just really giving myself permission to have them ultimately, and being with them. And so if I felt like crying, I cried. It's sad. It's scary.
That's hard for a lot of people.
A lot. And it was really hard for me in the beginning. That's for sure. I really felt like I was the type of person I want to do it all on my own, and
right.
And allowing people to help me and really see me vulnerable.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. That's huge, because I know a lot of people find it to be a challenge to ask for help, to allow people to help them or to lean on them. I mean, I've been guilty of that.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think you're ever just there. It's like, oh, yeah, I do all these things today. I mean, it's a constant process.
Yeah.
It was just really heightened at that point in my life.
So how long did it take? Did the tumors go all the way away?
They did. So 4.5 years later, so I was 25, and then 4.5 years later, I had a clean x-ray.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It took a long time. It took a lot of faith.
It did. It took me a long time to manifest that. I'm not saying, and it's funny because it took me that amount of time. Maybe in a different life it would have taken me less time.
Right. What about exercise? Is that a part of your routine?
Absolutely. I mean, yoga, meditation, it's so hard to cover everything. And right now, yes, absolutely. And at that point in my life, it was yes.
Even if you just go out for walks.
Nature, huge, like hugely being, like I had to be out in nature, hiking, canoeing, whatever.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So now you've gone through this whole thing and you've come out the other side, and I bet you're a real different person than when you started.
Oh, yes.
So what are you doing? You're wanting to share this with other people. Tell us what's going on.
I am. I wrote a book. I left. I used to be the marketing director, and I was in the corporate world for a while, which was great because that was normal. Mm-hmm. And I left that just over a year ago to write a book and to really finish a book that I'd started a long time ago. And I really want to inspire others through my story. I feel that it's a story of hope and surrender, and I'm hoping that other people will really benefit from my story.
Is the book out?
It's not yet.
I didn't think so. I thought we'd be totally pumping that book.
Thanks.
So when the book comes out, you'll let us know. But you also have something going on online.
Yeah, so I have a blog. It's called the Healthy Junkie.com.
The Healthy Junkie, I love that.
And, I feel like my blog is absolutely meant to inspire people, but I believe it comes from a very normal place, which is we're always all struggling to figure out what is healthy for us. Right. And it's a lot of it has been my own journey of what's right for me today and what do I need today. Mm-hmm. Because, I didn't drink coffee for years while I was healing, and then I love coffee. So incorporating things back into my diet and then figuring out ways to still feel really, really healthy. So I started these Eat Healthy challenges. They used to be called the Community Cleanse. And they really helped me to just stay focused. So I personally do an Eat Healthy challenge every 3 months. I do it for a month.